Coming up, we have your July 2021 Las Vegas real estate market update.
Hey everyone, I'm Steve.
And I'm Kristen.
We are the Thomas Group with Love Local Real Estate, your local Las Vegas and Henderson realtors, here today to bring you your July 2021 Las Vegas real estate market update from
Resorts World.
So I'm sure you've seen on the news, we've got a new casino hotel here on the Strip called Resorts World, and it's being built. I mean, I don't know how long exactly, but it feels like years.
I feel like it was originally supposed to be completed in 2017. I remember that being the original complete date.
But then with everything that happened, everything getting pushed back and stuff, well, we've just checked it out. What's your first impressions, Kristen?
It's pretty cool. I thought it was going to be a little bit flashier. What did you think?
I don't like it. I gotta be honest with you, it's big, right? And it seems like it's got lots of, restaurants and capabilities for lots of shops, but I feel like the interior designers need to be fired, because when you're comparing hotels on the Las Vegas Strip, right? You feel like Las Vegas is like, glitz and glam and wow factor.
Yeah.
This does not have a wow factor. Like if you go to the Cosmo, if you go to the Aria, the Wynn, the Encore, I mean, these hotels look stunning inside, and you can tell that there's different levels of attention to detail gone into them. This is like a mix mash for me. I feel like they've gone try to go super modern with some of these lights and stuff like that, but then the flooring is all 1990s, and it's personal opinion, but I don't feel like you're missing out. Visiting this.
I think it's cool, and there's some really neat, I think it has really cool aspects to it, but overall, I see what you're saying. There's some really neat art, and some of the bars have really cool features, but yeah, the overall concept.
Yeah, but every hotel on the Strip's got great bars and restaurants with cool features. For something that's built right now, I feel like they should have upped the ante way more. But it'll be interesting to see what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know what your thoughts are.
Steve.
Yeah, and if you've been here, let us know in the comments what you thought.
Cool.
So should we dive into the numbers, Kristen?
Let's do it. So really quick before we get into it, we're going to go through the numbers like we always do, and then at the end we're going to talk about the eviction moratorium ending, and
let's talk a little bit about the water as well, the water shortage of Lake Mead, because I know it's been on the news in the UK. My parents have been like, you're running out of water, so are we? We'll talk about a little bit about that and tell you what we think is going to be happening. Great.
Okay, so let's start with single family homes like we always do. Median sales price last month was $395,000. That's up 2.6% from the previous month. So again, we're seeing every month probably what we'd see over 6 months a year for normal appreciation. And it's up 21.5% from the same time last year. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, real estate doesn't seem to be decreasing in value anytime soon.
Right.
There's still a massive shortage of it and a plethora of buyers. Although we do feel like it's flattening, softening a little bit.
We'll show you why.
We'll show you why.
Yeah. So speaking of that, there were 3,543 units sold last month. That's up 11.1% from the previous month and up 43.8% from the same time last year. So last year during this time, we were starting to do showings and stuff again because of COVID, but we were still, not where we should be. So that's not really a good indicator.
And also, I think California at that time was still under lockdown.
You are right.
And obviously, a lot of our buyers are moving from out of state, California being one of those big states. So when they couldn't come, that was a big buyer pool that was missing. So these numbers, the 43% might sound drastic and shocking, but when you put things into perspective, we're still selling more houses, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then let's look at pending sales. So what's pending now is what's going to close next month, so we can see, what's going to be happening. And the pending sales next month are down 3.4% from currently. So I think we'll see a little bit of a softening in the number of units sold next month. All right, our inventory. There are 2,454 single-family homes available for sale. That's up 20.8% from the previous month. Yeah. Finally! Yes. And down 51.7% from the same time last year. So we have way less inventory from last year, but we're starting to see things creep up, which is great. And I still have my search set up from when we were buying a house, and I see that. I think 2 months ago there was like 5 available houses, and now there's a
lot more. I mentioned this in our last market update with David, that I feel what's been happening is homeowners, in various communities all over town, all over the country, have been seeing their neighbors selling their homes for record amounts and saying, well, we've been thinking about moving, now's the time. So by the time everybody's thought, oh, should we do it? Well, you've kind of missed the peak of the lack of inventory and the peak of buyers, I feel. And now that we've got a lot more inventory, right, 20% more homes to pick from than we did last month, but also a lot of buyers have been discouraged, I feel, from entering the market recently because of what they're hearing in the news and us talking about multiple offers and paying over ask and stuff.
Right.
This combination has softened it a little bit. Now, is it a balanced market? No, absolutely not. Do we have how many days of inventory?
We do. Yeah, we do. So there is 0.7 months of inventory, which is up. It's up from the previous month, which is good, but it's nothing. That's heavily favoring the seller.
Yeah, if you're wondering what that means, to put it into perspective, 6 months of inventory is what we call a balanced market, where it neither favors the buyer nor the seller. So as you can tell, with 0.7, it's still very heavily favoring the seller. But I can remember just a couple of months ago doing this market update, and it was 0.4 months. It was like 2 weeks of inventory. Now we got 3. So we're creeping back up there. It's a good sign for home buyers. If you're thinking about entering the market, personally, I think that from now going up into the end of the year, I do feel like we're going to be seeing a softening in the market. So definitely take advantage of that. And if you're thinking about selling, you really want to get on that right now.
Yeah, and one other thing that I just wanted to mention about the inventory, because we said that the inventory is increasing, and Steve said maybe the sellers miss the pool. I think really what it is the sellers miss being able to ask anything they wanted for a pretty house and get it.
Right.
Because I've seen some like beautifully remodeled houses, on the market, like the $700,000 range, and a couple months ago, people did not even care what that was. If $700,000 had 4 bedrooms and a pool, it would go. And I think now people are being a little bit more smart. They have more choices, and they're looking at comps, whereas a couple months ago we were like, comps doesn't matter, what's it worth to you?
Yeah, appraisals, you're going to waive it. Doesn't matter anyway, because if you want the house, you're going to have to waive it.
Yeah.
But now that I feel that buyers have got a little bit more negotiating room, just a tiny bit.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. So now let's look at condos and townhomes. The median sales price last month was $216,000. That's up 5.4% from the previous month, crazy, and up 15.4% from the same time last year. So we're just seeing that go up. Oh, that's one more thing that I wanted to touch on. As you guys are looking on Zillow, and you're following this house that you really like, and it was listed for $700,000, now they've dropped it to $650,000. That doesn't mean that prices are decreasing. That just means that people overpriced it and it's not selling. Because we have some people coming to us saying, oh, I see that the prices on Zillow are dropping. What we're telling you right here, the median sales price, that's really what you need to be looking at. There were 943 condos and townhomes sold last month. That's up 3.5% from the previous month and up 100% from the same time last year. It was interesting, during COVID, we weren't seeing condos and townhomes.
100%?
Yeah, they weren't selling because our thought process was the people that were buying condos and townhomes were probably the workers that were most affected by the pandemic.
Yeah. People are wanting to, to start getting on the property ladder.
Yeah.
Now, as we can see,
flipped.
Flipped. And that's why we've got 100%.
Yeah.
100%, because, a lot of, people like you guys that are wanting to buy a home for the first time, who've been maybe priced out of single families, and then looking at condos and townhomes. Yeah, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's crazy,
100%.
huh? And then along those same lines, pending sales are also up, whereas for single family, they were down. So pending sales for condos and townhomes are going to be up 52% next month. So next month, we're going to be seeing a big jump in the number of sold
That's really interesting.
condos and townhomes. Yeah, totally. Now, new listings, also interesting. New listings for condos and townhomes was down slightly, down 2%, but still up 26.9% from the same time last year, COVID. The inventory there were 575 condos and townhomes available to choose from. That's up 8.7%, which is good. Not as a significant increase as the single family, and it was down 64% from the same time last year.
Yeah, and the months of inventory, 0.6 months on there, so very similar again, but still very, very heavily favoring the seller.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So let's talk about the water. What's going to happen here? Are we going to be rationing water or what?
Have you seen Lake Mead recently?
I actually haven't, no.
So I just sold a listing up in Boulder City, and it was actually overlooking Lake Mead. And the seller, when I met them, he said, "Oh, have you seen the bathtub ring?" I didn't realize that that's actually what everybody is calling the big white ring that is around the walls of the basin of Lake Mead. Because it's actually dropped so much now that white wall that you can see is the same height of the Statue of Liberty.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. So, are we running out of water? Well, it's definitely getting lower, right? Lake Mead is the largest reservoir in the United States.
Right.
What is a couple of factors that people aren't really or haven't been accounting for is the amount of growth that we've been having, you know, in Las Vegas especially, and the surrounding states, you know, Arizona as well, that they said the Colorado River, you know, was only meant to support a certain amount of use, essentially. But now we've dramatically expanded that use case is, you know, is maybe being challenged.
Yeah, for sure.
But the other big factor is, as we're experiencing right now, is a heat wave. There's a huge amount of evaporation that goes on every single day. To put it into perspective for you, 1,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water evaporates every single day during the summer months of June, July, and August.
Wow, that's crazy.
And when we don't have, you know, a lot of snow in Colorado, you know, packing the mountains, flowing into the river, who knows? The biggest, scariest thing for me, and I don't want to worry anybody, right, because we live here as well, but this is something that we need to pay attention to, is the Hoover Dam is operated through the water that comes through there.
Right.
And when Lake Mead goes down to a certain level, the Hoover Dam cannot work anymore, so it cannot produce electricity.
I never thought of that.
So right now, the Lake Mead is just over 1,000 feet above sea level. But what they call I think they call it like I can't remember what they call it, like the dead point or something is like 800 feet. So it can only drop another 200 feet before the Hoover Dam is not able to produce any electricity.
Wow.
Now, by my math, that if everything keeps going the way it's going, that could be 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
So we've got to figure something out, right? I don't know what's going to happen. We've got to start rationing the water, being more sensible, realizing that we live in a desert,
right,
and that water is, you know, a valuable resource.
Yeah.
So, but who knows, right? Hopefully 10 to 15 years, 20 years is a long time also. So hopefully we can
figure something out
and maybe Colorado gets loads of snow for like 10 years and it will be great.
Hopefully. Yeah, and here's an interesting fact for you guys too. You might notice like the older neighborhoods in Henderson and Las Vegas are more lush and green. That's something that we talk about a lot and that we really like about them. But that's because everything built after, I believe, around 2007, the front landscaping and all the neighborhood landscaping has to be desert landscaping. You cannot have grass in that. So that's, you know, kind of a
great
attempt
point,
that we
Kristen.
have.
Yeah, and also when you're buying a home, if you're buying a home and you don't see any grass in the backyard, and you're thinking, you know what, I'd love to, you know, put some grass here, then make sure you check to make sure that the homeowners didn't get money from the water authority to turn that into desert landscaping, because if they did, and then you put, you know, grass and sprinklers out and everything back in there again, you'll have to pay that money back, which is probably around about $10,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good point. We'll check on that for you if you guys use us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing, just before we wrap the market update up, I'd like to just briefly touch on is the Eviction Moratorium.
Yes, this is a big headline.
Right, so the CDC has basically announced that unless you can still prove through various levels, various points of hardship that you're unable to pay your rent, you can still stay in the property that you're in. However, this is going to be affecting a huge amount of people now. And I'm praying, hopefully, hundreds, if not thousands of properties do come on the market, because it's going to be good for everybody.
Yeah.
Like buyers and sellers, it's not a healthy market when it has been the way it has been. There is such a great demand, not just here, but all over the country for home ownership because of the pandemic, and a paradigm shift happened in the way people think, that the market can handle a whole influx of properties.
Yeah.
Single families, condos, townhomes, like bring it on. I know just ourselves, our business could handle it, and I know every other realtor out there would be happy.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think some people are, hoping for all these properties to flood and prices to decrease, but we don't have a crystal ball, but it's not going to happen. I think what might happen is rents are going to increase.
100%.
And there might be a lot of people that are going to struggle to find properties to rent, because once you're evicted, it's hard hard.
That's a really good point.
So there could be an increase in homelessness, unfortunately. We'll see what happens. So, okay, you guys, well, thank you so much for watching. Good to see you all again.
Yeah, thank you. Just before we go, just want to say thank you to all of our clients again that have reached out and sent well wishes and support and messages for Kristen and I. If you just tuned into our channel, we just had our baby for the first time.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you like the content that we're bringing. But just thank you to all of our clients, and for those of you that reached out to us, you're all amazing. Seriously. People have sent us meals, flowers and gifts and clothes, I mean, we're so grateful. Just so thank you. And if you have any questions about moving into the Las Vegas or Henderson areas, Kristen, myself, and our team, we'd love to help. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact us at thethomasgrouplv.com and get all our info for there. But for now, stay safe, stay cool, have a great summer. We'll see you soon.
Bye.